And we are live. Happy Monday, everybody. If you know anything about me, it is Monday. My name is Terry Thompson. I am the host of Unbreakable Stories, along with my co-host, Bonnie. Bonnie, how you doing? You ready to laugh your ass off tonight?
Yes, I am. I have a feeling that we're gonna dove down into that humor hole. So let's do
Oh
it.
my goodness, I love it, man. So Will Smith, he's definitely a funny man, definitely a comedy man, and that joke never gets old. It never does. The just to watch the look on his face, how he was struggling to say I scuba dove, divin, do whatever he said, the Great Barrier Reef or whatever, because he has a fear of this water and this, that, and the other. So it was kind of one of those things. I truly enjoyed it. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about those inappropriate moments where are you really supposed to laugh? Can you laugh? Are you supposed to? Did you laugh? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's one of those things to where there are times where it is appropriate to laugh. And then there's those times where it's like tremendously inappropriate to laugh. And that's what we're going to kind of dive into a little bit here tonight. When is it appropriate to laugh in certain things and when is it inappropriate to laugh? Because I truly feel that, in life, there are moments that all of that is true. Even in business, all of that is true. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. First and foremost, Bonnie, how is your day? How was your week?
Productive. Thank you. Janine's been here most of the week, and so we've gotten a lot of collaborative projects done, and some of the different things that we're working on together, and some of the things that we're working on together but separately, or separately but together, if that makes sense. So she's been helping me with some of the things that I'm doing, and I'm helping her with some of the things she's doing. Um, and also just watching the dynamic, right, of having a new person in the house and how the kids respond, and how as they get more and more comfortable with her, how their behavior shifts. You know how that is when you take your kids to somebody's house for the first time, they're on their super best behavior. And then after like 2, 3, 4, 5 visits, it's like, let me see what I can get away with. So we were having one of those afternoons today, to say the least. So I was like, we're not doing this. So all in
I love
all,
it.
it's flown by. To be honest with you.
Yeah, the week went by pretty quickly. I know this is, I think, our third live stream back since we've both been
Yeah.
sick for like 5 or 6 weeks or whatever. And and it's kind of one of those things that I figured tonight, with today being April Fool's Day, April 1st, a fun one. Let's have a fun night. Hopefully we'll be able to bring some friends on here and we'll have a couple of laughs and maybe share some moments of, where they thought it was appropriate to laugh, inappropriate to laugh, or just some funny moments that you've experienced that maybe they were funny, maybe they were not so funny. Who knows? It's a matter of perspective. So tell me, I know you got Janine in the house and everything, and man, you guys are totally knocking it out of the park. You're tremendously a powerhouse of a team working on many different things, and I'm truly rooting for both of you. But when you're a business partner, when you're working on things, because you and I, we've worked on a lot of things and we've had those serious moments. But I got to know, has there been like a moment of like, oh my God, we're going to remember this for like ever? It's like we meet, it was awkward. We did this. It was awkward. It was funny. Have you guys had one of those moments yet?
Um, I wouldn't say awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's definitely, I think it's fun to watch someone who's not typically around little kids like a
Mm-hmm.
lot, to experience being around kids like 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And my 5-year-old SJ is definitely one that should be on that TV show Kids Say the Darndest Things, because like almost hourly some days he's saying something that I'm like, wow. He has no filter, and I'm teaching him to be kind, but also to speak his mind and not be afraid to speak up and ask questions and whatnot. And same with my almost 9-year-old as well. Making up for some of the mistakes I made with my older kids, where I um, sometimes expected them to spare others' feelings at the expense of their own. Is really the
Mm-hmm.
best way I can put it. Um, and by saying that, I mean like keeping quiet about things that maybe they should have spoken up about. And so I'm taking all of the mistakes, hopefully all of the mistakes that I made with my older ones, and you know better, you do better with my younger ones. But so there's definitely been moments of like, what did you just say? You know, coming from the kiddos. But yeah, it's been uh it was almost like a seamless transition. Like, I mean, there were some little awkward things, like, you know, we're sleeping in a new place and where's this person going to be and where are we going to do that, and you know, meshing people's schedules together, but nothing that was like anywhere near um you know unmanageable in any way. So I was losing my words there for a minute. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, this works better for me, this works better for you, let's figure out how we can make this all work for everybody. So yeah, it's been really great all overall.
I love it. You know, it's one of those things where if you're not sure, like what you can say, what you can do, what you can get away with, so to speak, because I know, you know, kids are like that. Kids are, you know, they definitely see how far they can push the limits of like what they can say, what they can do, because you're right. They don't have no filter. And it's like, you know, and in the back of their mind, they're like, watch this. This is going to be funny. And then in the back of like mom's mind is like, I'm going to crush you. Wait till I get
Sometimes.
you home. Then the entire time you're gritting your teeth, like you just wait till I, you know, kind of a thing. And oh my goodness, you know, fortunately, I have not had any of those moments, but I've definitely had one of those moments where I thought something was really funny, and you know, somebody else did not think it was so funny. I was, you know, because I grew up with one of those old school dads. He was one of those guys.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead, put your finger on the light socket, see how bad that hurts, you know, kind of a thing. And you know, I remember one time, like my son, for example, he jumped off the top of a dresser with his socks on and just did a face plant on the floor. I laughed at that. I thought that was kind of funny, but it was also one of those moments where I had to let the empathy kind of kick in. It's like, man, I bet that hurt, didn't it? You'll never do that again, won't you? So that's when that sarcasm kind of kicked in a little bit. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I tend to err. I'm like, or I hold it. I'm like, are you okay? All right, good. Now
Mhm.
I can laugh. Like, what were you thinking? Um. So yeah, my kids have done some pretty ridiculous things over the years. Some of these things where I'm just left shaking my head. Some of my favorites are when I'm like, I wouldn't do that because XYZ is going to happen. Oh, no, it's not. All right. Like once you've got 4 kids, you get to the last two and you're like, look, I'm not going to, unless of course it's extremely dangerous. And then I've got to
Uh,
put my foot down and step in. But there's some things where it's like, all right, cool. I tried to give you the advice. I tried to tell you how this is probably going to turn out, and you don't want to listen. That's on you. Like,
hmm.
um, and sometimes they prove me wrong, and so I'm open to that. Like, I'd rather you not get hurt, obviously.
Hmm.
But yeah, we've had some really interesting situations over the years. Just like, I'm gonna mix this, and this together in the kitchen, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure. You want to taste that? I'm not volunteering. I don't think
Yeah.
that's gonna taste so great, but you do you. But that in and of itself has my oldest loves to mix like these crazy concoctions in the kitchen, and some of this stuff looks like you'd see it in like on a prison tray or
Mm.
in the army, like that stuff
But,
that they just
but
slop
I'm a
on your.
chef, mom. Mom, I'm a
But but
chef. I'm
and
a
it
chef
but
then.
sometimes it turns out it looks horrible and then tastes amazing. I'm like, what did you put in this? This is really good.
Yeah.
No, but anyways,
You know, it's like when I was growing up and I thought I was getting fancy with it, you know, because we didn't have any bread. And it was one of those things to where I was like, you know what? I'm going to be resourceful. I grabbed a tortilla and I kid you not, I had these things that I used to make called torpellis. And it was basically a tortilla with peanut butter and jelly on it.
so you have a
And
name for that. That's
and I said,
amazing.
torpelli. I was like, I'm going to go make me a torpelli. And everybody knew what that was. When I said I was going to make a torpelli, people knew exactly what it was that I was going to make. It was a tortilla with peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. My oldest of the younger two loves, loves, loves. In fact, you just reminded me of something we need to put on the grocery list. he loves doing that. And sometimes he'll make them flat with two, like, and we'll, cut them like, fours, or sometimes he'll just roll it up and eat it. And again, those are some of the things that those are like those happy accidents. I'm like, I'm not sure that's gonna taste so great, but all right, give it a shot. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. We should do this with that. We should try to toast it first. And like, but yeah, had some interesting kitchen concoctions in this house over the years for sure.
I love it. So this was like a funny, not funny kind of a thing. Like whenever you have glass and you bake it in the oven and then you put like one drop of water on it and the whole thing just shatters into 1,000 pieces. You ever done
I
that?
haven't had that happen, but I'll tell you a story about our refrigerator when you're done.
So the first time that ever happened, it shocked me. But I couldn't do nothing but laugh at it because it was funny at the same time. It was like one of those things I was like, I had to take a step back at that one because one, I wasn't expecting it. Two, I was kind of shocked. I mean, it was instant. And it was like,
oh yeah.
Wow, that was pretty interesting. So I had nothing to do but to laugh, and then I had to go tell my wife. I was like, I just broke the glass thing. Sorry, kind of a thing. And it was like, man, I'm not laughing now, but it was kind of one of those things that, man, I broke our glass. I broke our glass thing that we cook with.
Yeah. I managed to shatter. I think I was pregnant with my youngest, I think. Or no, it couldn't have been because it was an old fridge. I was pregnant with my third child, and was on a cleaning binge because it was getting close. And so I had taken all the glass shelves out of the refrigerator, washed them down the way you're supposed to with like lukewarm water, had them sitting there to dry. And I'm not sure if the house was just too warm or what, but I put them in the fridge, put all the groceries back in the refrigerator where we went, and all of a sudden you hear like this nasty shattering glass, and I'm like, so not only did we lose the glass shelves, but all of the food from the first glass shelf down in the refrigerator, because it didn't break like safety glass, it like literally splintered. And that was probably that's worse than when a kid dumps dish soap on your kitchen floor. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Oh man.
But as far as
so
cleanup,
I've never had that, but I had like an entire rack of eggs end up on the floor.
That's pretty close. That you can manage with some salt. Soap, ironically, is like the hardest thing to clean up off of a hard surface when you've got, a large quantity of it. It's a nightmare. But yeah, that's one of those things too, where I just stood there and just had to laugh hysterically to avoid probably having a nervous breakdown at that point. It's like an entire refrigerator full of food just gone.
So this actually happened to me the other day. It was one of those moments to where I don't know. I guess I was kind of expecting some empathy, but there was none there. It was one of those moments. I've only ever fallen down the stairs, like literally fallen down the stairs, maybe 3 times. Okay. And the other day, I don't know what it was. The audio went out in Clubhouse and I was still in bed and I was upset and I was like, God bless, I got to get up, change freaking audio. I'm over here like, kind of cussing at myself a little bit. I get up, I'm like stumbling out of the bedroom. I hit that first step and I swear to goodness, I missed every step after that. And I butt slid down the stairs about 4 or 5 steps, hit my head on the wall, cracked my back on the stairs. And out of the distance, I heard my wife, what is that? What's going on out there? Right. Kind of a thing. And I was like, well, you could have at least asked if I was okay, kind of a thing. So it was one of those moments as I'm sitting there feeling bad because I fell down the stairs. Wife's like yelling, like, what was that? What just happened? Kind of a thing. I couldn't do nothing but laugh. Like it just couldn't do nothing but laugh. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I just fell down my stairs. It's embarrassing. I hit everything. Surprised I didn't knock a hole in the wall, which I have done that before, not in this house, but in another house before because I'm claustrophobic and somebody thought it was funny to pushed me into the closet and kind of locked me up in there. And I freaked out and pushed my way through to the other side out into the living room. But it was one of those, I was like 14 years old at the time when that happened.
Mm.
Comes home and he's like, what? What is this? Like, what just happened? I was like, sorry, Dad. Got scared, freaked out, got locked in the closet, pushed my way through.
And
And,
like the Kool-Aid
and
man came to visit. You know how it is.
yeah, and there it is. Not the funniest moment that ever happened with my dad. Funniest moment is I got drunk one time and went out and about, blacked out. Somebody brought me back to the house, dropped me off at the front door, knocked the door, and took off running the other way. So I'm standing on the front porch, wobbling back and forth. Dad answers the door. Hey man, kind of a thing. So he yanks me into the house and I had no idea what happened from there. I just know that I woke up the next morning. My dad's like, "You okay?" Fine, man. What's up? You don't remember nothing? No, haven't got a clue. So to this story,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the funny, not funny moments with my dad, but we never talked about that ever again. So it's kind of one of those things. But work here, let's kind of drift off into like workplace, because I know workplace is one of those things to where there's a lot to unpack with that, to where certain things are funny, people tell jokes, and sometimes they're appropriate, sometimes they're inappropriate, and it's one of those things to where you can actually get in a whole lot of trouble at work by telling inappropriate jokes at the wrong place, the wrong time, with the wrong person in listening distance. And I know I've experienced some of that. I know some other people have experienced that. And, and that's the reason why we have certain reporting procedures in place. So tell me, have you ever been in a work environment where people were just laughing their tail end off, like, okay, this is hilarious, but you didn't think it was so hilarious?
Oh boy. It's been a long time since I've been in a workplace. Like over a decade.
Mhm.
And honestly, being that I was an accountant, uh, not the super funniest people on the planet. And like, of course that sounds super stereotypical, but from my experience in the places that I worked, very low key, maybe some dry humor, if that, but I don't ever remember being in a situation where I walked in or overheard something like that.
Mhm.
Uh, now you got my wheels turning here. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think of something. Uh,
Yeah.
I've heard
Well,
lots of
and
things that I felt were inappropriate in other settings, and honestly, unless it was something that directly there was one time. This was probably 3 years ago. I was walking up from the bus stop with my little one, and he was in kindergarten. And there was a group of like 3 or 4 kids ahead of us. And so we walk this like straight part, and then we go up this hill. And from about the middle of like the straight part of the path, I'm overhearing, these are like middle school kids, basically like ragging on this other kid. And at first it was seemed kind of harmless, and then they were getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And finally, uh, this little kid was really upset, and I couldn't hold it in. Like I was trying to mind my own business, but it just got to a point where it was like somebody needs to stick up for this kid. And to them, they thought what they were doing was funny. To this other kid, he definitely wasn't enjoying this whole process. And I was like, hey, if this guy's really your friend, you might want to lay off a little bit. And I just they kind of looked at me like, like in complete shock and awe, which I found interesting. But it was like, just give the kid a break. Like, um, but it's all about perception, right? Because had this other kid maybe not been the butt of their jokes and been kind of playing in, there would have been no issue. Like I still wouldn't have enjoyed what they were talking about. But it's about the perception and about how that stuff is delivered, and some stuff honestly just I'm pretty like laid back about a lot of things, but there's certain things you just are not um, shouldn't be joked about. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, I try to mind my own business for the most part, but there's certain times where like mama bear mode kicks in. I'm like, that's just not cool, dude. You can't
Mhm.
be doing that.
I get it. I definitely have a lot of stories from my military days. So, I was in the military for 24 years. And it's one of
Right.
those things where we do have rules and regulations in place on like, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, what we can laugh at, what we can't laugh at. And I'm telling you, I've got a lot of stories on things that I experienced. Like I walked in on like so many different things and conversations. I'm like, I'm just going to turn around and walk away and
Yeah.
pretend like I just did not hear that and or see that. And I'll let you read between the lines on like what I heard and what I saw. And it's one of those things that until you've walked in on like four dudes going at it, it's like, wow, I can't laugh at that. And I can't unsee that either. And it's one of those things that, it definitely brings back a whole new meaning of don't ask, don't tell. So it's one of those things. Now I'll share a quick story with you. One of the most interesting moments. It's an inappropriate moment to laugh, and I didn't laugh. And believe me, I was holding on with every thread that I possibly could to hold that in. But it was at a funeral. It's like the big question is can you laugh at a funeral? And I remember I was at a military funeral,
Mm.
um, and it's one of those things that I'm the one holding the urn. And so I'm the senior military official. I'm holding the urn. We're in the church. We're making our way out the church, and I've got an entire congregation with me. We're walking down the street all the way to the cemetery, and I'm at the front of this bad boy, right? And I'm holding this urn. So I'm the one that's up front. I have to be the serious one. I have to keep a straight face. I'm holding the urn. I'm leading everybody to the cemetery. We get to the cemetery. We get to the gravesite. There's no hole in the ground. The funeral director starts freaking out. He runs over to, like, I don't know, probably about 20 or 30 feet away from where we all were, the congregation, gets on his phone. And behind this tree, all you hear is this funeral director just screaming, cussing, yelling, "Where's this hole? We're down here. And I'm over here at the front, just standing at like the position of attention with this urn in my hand. And I still have to stand in the position. I can't laugh. Trust me when I tell you that listening to this guy on the other side of this tree, cussing, yelling, screaming, "Where's my hole?" This, that, and the other. I'm laughing. I'm dying on the inside, and I'm keeping it all together. Now, that was kind of the funny part. The not so funny part is that I still had to stand there with this urn in my hand for about another 30 minutes while they figure out who was supposed to dig the hole, where's the person, who's going to dig the hole. And they get over there, they finally dig the hole. And oh my God, it was such a relief to let that urn go and put that thing in the ground. And, it's one of those funny, not funny moments, but I had to keep my composure. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that one?
That uh, uh, all power to you. I don't even know what to say to that one. I'm not super great uh, at keeping my feelings hidden, and so I
Mhm.
think that I probably would have busted out laughing and got kicked out of the army. So or the military, kicked out of the cemetery, whatever it
Yeah.
was. You're out of
Did,
here.
did I ever
Or
share my
I would have been the
story?
smart ass and be like, can somebody just grab a shovel and get this over with? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
That's
my
more
goodness.
my style of my humor is more just the the smart ass. Um
Yeah.
is kind of
So
where humor is for me.
so I'm at another funeral. I'll share another funeral story with you real quick. I'm at another military funeral, given military honors. My team folds the flag, hands it to me, and I'm the one that has to hand the flag off to the military, to the family member. Well, I didn't know there were twins. And there's one twin. All I know is that I met the lady that I was supposed to hand the flag to. And that was it. I didn't see the twins. I just saw the one lady. So we're over there, everything's going through. My team comes up, they fold the flag, we turn around, they hand it to me, I salute. I grab the flag, I turn around, I did my like left face, and I'm like, holy crap, there's two of them. who do I give this flag to? Right? And like I said, in the back of my mind, I'm like laughing, but I'm also dying at the same moment.
Yeah.
And I'm hesitating, and I'm standing there and I'm staring at these two ladies wearing the exact same stuff. They're twins, and the only thing that separated the two was one of them had a pin on her shirt. So that's when I made my move, and I'm like, on behalf of the President of the United States and a grateful nation, this flag is presented to you for the honorable service of your loved one, like a champion. And it was the wrong lady.
I was gonna say, wait. Well,
and I couldn't take that back. I could not take that back. And it was one of those moments I was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm out of here. It was just, I had to go tuck my head somewhere. And it was just one of those moments that I will never forget. And that's handing the flag to the wrong person at a funeral.
That sounds mortifying. No pun intended.
Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine.
Did I ever share my story with you about the wrong painting urinals at a shooting range? Did I share that one with you?
I think so. The stuff that melted.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. I never did. We never did go back and repaint that urinal. So it was one of those things. But we do have a guest back in the back channel here. So I'm going to kind of clean out my screen here a little bit, and then we're going to bring Miss Mary up here to join the show. Mary, good evening. How you doing?
I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been laughing here all the way.
Glad someone thinks we're funny.
I just picture somebody with the at a funeral and standing in front of twins. Well, you ask them who of you is the right.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things.
No,
I
at
couldn't
that
ask.
moment, yeah, at that moment, you don't even know what to do. You're just so overtaken that you really don't know what to say. And
yeah, but I did. I stepped off like a champion, and I was like, I had my line memorized. On behalf of the President of the United States, an honorable country, we thank you for your show. I was like, oh my goodness, and I was like, here you go. Boom. I was like, you weren't supposed to hand that to me.
No, but they should have helped you because they know that they are twins, and normally you were not expected to know that they were twins, so they had to help out. Well, maybe I guess they too were overwhelmed with grief, so they didn't also know what to do. But I just say, oh my goodness, I just imagine Terry there with his uniform and. Well, sometimes those things happen and you don't really have a choice. It just goes and you tell them you're sorry.
100%. So, Mary, what is like a funny, not funny moment or an inappropriate thing? What is your share for tonight?
I don't know. For me, I always smile at everything, or most of the time I smile. So not that because I decide to take things lightly. I don't really take them heavily. Sometimes you have certain situations that are so overwhelming that you just give a smile. You say like, seriously, or like, is this happening? And then you're not laughing because it's funny, but you're really overtaken, and it's better to laugh than to do something else. So there are moments that, for me, most of the moments where I have laughed has become natural because I want to laugh at most of the things so that I don't get really overwhelmed.
So what's one of the funniest things that you ever did that you just had to laugh at yourself? Like, man, I'm just gonna laugh that off.
I've so many of them. After when you've lived a long life like mine, you've done so many things. But
You're not a day over 21. Quit lying to yourself.
but I just not later than last month in March, I followed, like they say, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, and look at me, a tropical, real tropic from the tropics with all the sunshine and stuff. I said, okay, let's go for the snow slating, and I almost broke my I almost broke my
Mm,
legs, and I was like, really, what did I come here for? I thought I
mhm,
was going to have
mm.
fun and really just join them to enjoy it. They were really just enjoying. Initially, I didn't want to do it. I was just standing there and looking, but I realized that the more I was standing without being active, the colder it was. So I said, okay, let me go in there. I come and see the crash. I crashed so hard that I just decided to lay down on the snow, and it was not funny, but everybody was
Yeah.
laughing. I didn't find it funny at all. But later, and then my nephew said, "Auntie, you really crashed," and he was like, "Oh, so that was fun for you. It was not fun for me." For me, it
Uh-huh.
was a really funny moment because I knew that this is something new for me. I really wanted to have the fun, but yours truly, there was laughter, but I had some pains.
Mm,
My old bones really had they had a little pain. My legs, because I fell on one leg, and you can imagine me crashing on one leg,
mhm.
and the board falling over my head. So I was like, okay, I've had great fun with your snow, and I'm not going to go snow skating again. No, not in the near future.
I love ice skating. We take the kids up into DC every year for ice skating. There's like two or three places up in DC that we can go ice skating. I love it. And you know, when you always see somebody falling down, it's one of those things is you just want to chuckle a little bit on side until you fall down. And it's one of those things like I shouldn't have laughed at that guy. That's karma getting me back right there. And
No,
we got to skate.
yeah, especially I've had to deal with the cold, which is I'm not really already very used to the cold, and then I say, okay, let me go have fun too. And
Mhm,
just because I didn't really find the technique, I was
mhm.
sitting on one, I was tilted on one side, and that's how I easily fell. I didn't know that I had to balance, but it was
I
so
remember
fun for them.
one time. So let me kind of paint the picture with this one here real quick. You know, we all have, you know, if you're in a work environment, you all have like bosses or let me ask a question this way. Have you ever had a boss that was just so rigid, so straight faced, so narrow that, you know, you couldn't get a joke in otherwise? Well, I had a boss like that one time, and we was out in a snowy environment, an icy environment, and this guy slipped and fell. And when he fell, his leg went straight up in the air and his pant leg got caught on like a rail, and he was just hanging upside down. He didn't fall all the way. He was actually hanging from this rail straight up and down. And at that moment, everybody was like, do you need help? How you doing? You know, it was like we was just kind of rubbing it in at that moment because we had to take advantage of like that one funny moment because, you know, this guy would never crack a smile, never crack a laugh, never do anything. And oh my goodness, the moment that we got him on that one, we was laying into him and we would not let that go forever. It was one of those moments. Have you ever had one of those moments?
I have had a work with bosses that really have who crack jokes. And well, falling in the snow, I can tell you, is real fun because you can slide all the way and you don't have your brakes until you break something breaks you. So I know what it is. But for where I've been most of the time without the snow in the sunshine, I've had a boss who would even forbid people to have music in the office. And every time I was like, I work better when I have music.
Mhm.
And the guy was so black. You know how Senegalese are black? They are
Mhm.
blacker than me. So, but the guy, one of the things that always made me laugh, the secretary told me, when you're talking with him and he does like this on his nose, know that he's lying. So most of the time,
Mm.
when we are in a meeting and he just starts like this, I'll just bust it. And then I'll turn and
Mm.
look at the secretary. She will look at me. Oh, I was working for an NGO, an international NGO with people from different countries. And he will not really see why we have to smile. But for me, obviously, you know that I'm always wearing a smiling face. But to think that you can detect somebody's character by that kind of action, for me, it was, oh my goodness, now I got you. I know what to say next because you are lying. And it was easier for us to work.
I love it. And being in a work environment, you really kind of get it. You really have to keep it kind of loose, so to speak. Not so much to the point to where it's always inappropriate or whatever, but you also really have to have that balance between, here's a work environment and here's a play environment. We used to always have this saying, work hard and play harder. But where's that fine line at of, is it appropriate? It was like, hey, well, we're just having fun here. Where's that line? Where do you draw that line? What are your thoughts?
Sometimes it's really difficult to 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 make fun or to draw the line because when you're in the work environment, like out, I have more experience working in NGOs, and there is work, work, work. Maybe
Mhm.
sometimes when we go on the field with work, to work with communities, you can have a lighter environment, but you have your own work with your terms of reference, and you're there busy trying to catch up with your deadlines. You really don't have time for any jokes and whatever. But during break, we always have a break room where people can crack jokes, and it's there that people, it's like, it's sometimes it's really more than military because you so constrained until when you get to the lunch room that you can crack jokes. But when you are at your desk, you're so focused on work, and sometimes it's really, it gets you, it gets a toll on your productivity.
Mhm.
But for
I
me,
remember.
yeah,
Go ahead.
no, I was saying, so for me, it's not a good thing when you work in an environment where people cannot feel at ease.
Mhm.
Not that people should joke and laugh at others because we know what jokes are. Sometimes you really get a very simple joke, but the person is in a bad moment, and the way they receive it is not what you intended, and it goes a long way to so sometimes. But it's good to work in an environment where you can at least crack jokes and then you play bet within some limits.
Yeah, I love it. I had a work environment one time where we had, our senior leader. He always had this little miniature Nerf football in his office. And here's what he would do. So we had all these cubicles. So he had his main office, and it was, it was like an enclosed, it was four walls, but it had this over it was like a cubicle. It was like a giant cubicle, in other words, but it was still four walls. And he had this Nerf football, and he would always throw this stupid freaking Nerf football over the top of it, and wherever it landed, that's where it landed. So if you're working on your cubicle on your computer and you just so happen to get hit in the face with a Nerf football, that was it. You got hit in the face with a Nerf football. He was like, oh my goodness, man, here we go. It was like, where do you throw it? So I'd grab it and throw it to the next guy and bonk this dude in the freaking head. Next thing you know, we're playing like office, who can we hit, kind of a thing. So that was one of the things that we used to do to kind of pass the time in a cubicle farm. So I worked in a cubicle farm like that. And we had one of those bosses that he thought it was funny to throw Nerf footballs around the office and just hit people and computers. We're over here working, trying to make things happen. Next thing you know, my keyboard gets blasted with a Nerf football. And I'm like, oh my goodness, man, can't a doggone dude work here? Kind of a thing. So it's like one of those, like, what do? You got that senior boss who thinks it's funny to throw Nerf footballs around and hit everybody. Do you challenge that? Do you not challenge that? Do you report that? Do you say anything about that? Once again, that's the reason why I ask, where's that line? Where's that line? Because if the senior person is throwing Nerf footballs around the office, do you laugh at that or do you not laugh at that? Not.
I would have rallied everybody together to put in like $20 and filled up this entire damn office with Nerf footballs and basketballs. So that when he came in the next day and opened the door, it's like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Bonnie,
Like,
I bet you, Bonnie, when the person is your boss, sometimes it's not really easy to deal with him like you think. Because
I know.
Yeah, so
You gotta,
like work environment for you people here is different because people you're used to, they don't respect hierarchy a lot. You just call people by name and stuff. In Africa, girl, you just enter and say hi to your boss. You're in big trouble. Good morning, sir. Hi, good day, ma'am. You don't even tell your boss hi. You're telling him good morning or her, good morning, ma'am, good afternoon, good evening, with all the protocols. So you don't even have the time to think that you can play a prank on your boss.
see, this
The
is why I
hierarchy
think
is so much that you stay where you are, and then we stay where we are. But if they are going to bring, if he brings a joke, you sometimes, and those are fake, you fake it and laugh along. That's how you see that the work environment is not authentic, because you have to fake it because the person is the boss.
Bonnie,
See,
you had
this
some
is why
additional thoughts.
sorry, I was just saying that this is probably a big part of why I ended up being an entrepreneur and like getting out of corporate, because I was a total smart ass and I'd be like, yo, what's up? Like I can't function. I've been in those situations, like I said, especially being in accounting and being in corporate. There's constantly deadlines. Like I work for some really large corporations like Alcoa, where it's not monthly or yearly or quarterly. Like we have like stuff that's due like every day, every week. Like it was just constant. And so most of the people were head down, stressed out, working on something all of the time. And then we'd get like a day off of like no deadlines and then right back at it. And that to me, like you said, it got to a point where I moved out of those types of environments and into a smaller family-owned business where it was a little more relaxed, although the woman that ran it was really, really uptight too. But yeah, I've gotten in more trouble for being a smartass rather than playing like actual jokes or pranks on people than anything else. Just because it was like a tension breaker for me. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like I could only hold that emotion in for so long until I'd crack some comment and be like, oh, I'll just be over here. Don't fire me, please. Yeah, but I think it's important to like to have a sense of humor and not run your company like a dictatorship, like where
at least joke about being a drill sergeant.
Yeah, like I mean,
can they hear me? I don't know if they can hear on that.
Yeah, they can. I don't know.
I heard her. Yeah.
Yeah, he heard you. Anyways, yeah, I feel like when you're not comfortable in your work environment, it makes things really difficult and actually decreases your productivity. But I definitely would have gotten everybody's money together and filled up that guy's office with Nerf footballs.
We have the best
You hit mute, so I'm not sure what she said.
Go ahead.
We have the best office over here, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Best office.
I love it. So we have another guest backstage who just popped back onto the camera. So I'm going to bring in Lady Lexie to the show and see what her thoughts are. Lexie, welcome.
Well, hello. I have no clue what you guys have been talking about.
We've been talking about you the whole time. It's
to do with
hilarious. You should have been here. Oh my God, Lexie, we've been talking about you for so long. Now you show up. Oh my God. We're leaving. End of
So
show.
I've got burning ears.
No, that's what we're talking about. So we're talking about how to laugh at anything, even if you're not supposed to. So what are those moments where it's like appropriate, inappropriate to laugh at? So tell me, what is a moment that you experienced within your life that it was like appropriate or maybe inappropriate to laugh at, to where either you laughed or somebody else laughed?
Well,
Or didn't laugh.
now because my neighbors, 2 doors down, there are all these young kids, and they crank up the volume. Then I
3 doors down, though, right? I love 3 doors down.
Yeah, and then I hear balls, literally. So and it's almost 2 o'clock here at night. So I was like, okay, I need to say something. So I walked there, and they were sitting in the dark with the window open, 6 of them, smoking and all that stuff. So I just opened the window a little further, and I say, "Hey guys, hi sweethearts," and they're like, "That's kind of funny." Totally, I was like, "Yeah, you can expect it. I work at night,
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to your bass and all that other sounds just because there's a movie theater there, which is basically used for online lessons."
Mhm.
So yeah, that was kind of funny just to see their reaction. I'm not sure if that was appropriate or not. I thought it
Yeah.
was.
That was funny. That was a good one. So you kind of snuck up on, and they weren't expecting it. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I've done that. I've walked in on people doing inappropriate things, and it's like, what do you do at that moment? So like, if you ever want, now I definitely want to be careful with, with what we say on this one right here. But when you walk in on people doing inappropriate stuff, it's like, how do you react to that? Because it's one of those things, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail of specific things, but how do you react to inappropriate things when you walk in? It's like, do you just turn around and casually walk out the door like you didn't see it? Do you just laugh? Do you stop and like watch and ogle over it, or whatever the case may be? Or is it one of those things to where it's like, oh my God, I got to go wash my eyes and clean my ears now, like one of those things. So have you ever had an experience like that? And what was your reaction? Without going into great detail.
Well, let's start with the second the second question. I would probably turn around and then either send a text message or knock on the window like, "Hey guys." so they would know, unless I would think, oh, they have such a great time, so let's leave them alone. But did I ever walk in on something? Well, I can tell that I had a sleepover with a friend, and they were not sure if they were going to do something or not, and I was like, okay, you're going to do something anyway, so let's not make secret out of it. So apparently I encouraged them. So in the morning I woke up because of these sounds, and I was like, okay, I'll just zip it. And then later on I came downstairs when they were playing music and all that stuff, and of course at some point I was going to address it because I was like, yeah, what did you expect? Yeah, of course I heard it all.
Yeah, I had an experience like that too when I was in Germany, and so me and my wife were in one room and my wife's mother was in the other room. But that's not the story. The story is our next door neighbors, because we were in an apartment complex, and the next door neighbor sounded like they were at a farm. And it was one of those things that I heard more barn animals than I really wanted to hear that night. And the only thing that was running through my mind during that moment was, oh my God, my wife's mother's right there next to them in the wall, listening to all of this. It was embarrassing. It was one of those moments to where, do I go bang on the next door neighbor's door and say, excuse me, but I think your cow is running loose. Excuse me, but I think your goats are running. It's like one of those things. It's like, I'm not sure what type of animals you have running loose over here within your house, but we can hear them. Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it all depends my reaction on if I want to talk to the persons or not, and how well do I know them. I mean, it was awesome to make a little bit of fun of my friend, and of course her boyfriend was new and he didn't know me. But he got to know me pretty quickly because I don't hold back when it comes to her. And when it comes to appropriate or non-appropriate things, what we have done is, we sometimes we would be backstage and we would help out. I would take pictures and all that stuff, and then she would just come along with me. And at some point we were in the dressing room and she had a huge her back was really aching, and then around the pelvic area. So I would stand in front of her. I would literally pick up her leg. She would wrap it around me, and I would start, massaging the pelvic area. And then you could see the guys looking like, "Oh my God, what is she doing?" That was,
Awesome.
yeah.
So that reminds me of something, though. That actually does remind me of something. So we'll go popcorn style or around the panel on this one right here. Have you ever had that one friend where you just felt like you could just be free? Like you could say anything, you could do anything, you could run through the mall skipping, or, you could just feel like you could just say anything that you wanted to because you felt comfortable. You felt confident when you was around your bestie, so to speak, your bestie. This is your bestie here we're talking about. And it's like, I'm running through the mall and I can act like a total idiot because I'm with my bestie.
Yeah, I do. That's the one I was talking about before.
Me,
Awesome.
no. I've never had a bestie with whom I could just share like that.
Yeah.
Hey Terry, is your bestie named Jack or Jim perchance?
Those are two of my favorite friends. Yes.
Back in the day when I was a kid, yeah, we definitely did some really. I look back on now, it's like I really can't yell at my kids too much because, yeah.
Yeah, Jack and
Nothing
Jim definitely.
bad,
Jack and
like,
Jim both gave me confidence, more than I would like to share sometimes.
yeah, right. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely I had a friend that I grew up with. I was maybe 2.5 when we met, maybe 3. I don't know. Really, really young, and we grew up a couple of houses away from each other, and yeah, we did all kinds of ridiculousness, and not now looking back on it was nothing like really bad, but at the same time, stuff we probably would have gotten in trouble for, like being in places we shouldn't have been. We frequently went way further away from like our house than we were supposed to be. There was tunnels that led from this ravine to one of the bigger rivers here in Pittsburgh, and we would walk through this tunnel that like was known for like not being the most sanitary place in the world. We'll just call it that. And we would like sneak down and do that, down there and hang out on the riverbank and whatnot. But yeah, like I just remember, like you said skipping, and I remember we used to literally skip through this tunnel. Do you remember the show Perfect Strangers with Balky and the other guy? I can't remember his name. Just ridiculous, like 80s comedy, 80s and 90s comedy. And there was this, and I'm going to go look up on the internet what the name of the song was, but they had this absolutely ridiculous song that they would sing. And because we were so terrified to be on this tunnel, because there was like rats and like all of this other crap that was supposedly in there, we would run and skip as fast as we could through this tunnel, screaming this song as loud as we possibly could in order to scare all the rats away. Get through the tunnel, get down the river. So like this is the kind of stuff I think about. Like I would be freaking out at my kids if I found out they were doing this yet at 14, 15 years old. That's exactly the kind of stuff we were doing. Yeah, so it is what it is. I think we lost Terry. He froze there for a moment, and hopefully he will be back.
Well, it's a good thing you guys were not scared of rats.
Oh, we were scared. That's why we ran and skipped really fast and screamed really, really loud because we wanted to see them. It's like, are we going to do this? I don't know. And it was also a gauge of like, depending on how high the water was. Because if the water was low enough, we could run and stay mostly dry. But if the water had come up too high, we had to be, had to be careful. Yeah. Now I'm like getting like itchy just thinking about it. Like, it's disgusting. So we did. So yeah, that's what it was.
So who's the lovely lady next to you, Bunny? I believe she's
This
Janine.
is my friend Janine. She's drove in to stay with us for a few days. We're working on some things together.
We went live on LinkedIn today. It's on both of our links. Bonnie is tagged if you want to go see her and I earlier.
We did a LinkedIn live today. So yeah, we're hanging out. She's getting used to being around a whole bunch of kids.
You guys might have seen me before on Zan's channel, by the way. I've been on here. I've been on this one too, but I don't know if you guys recognize me from Zan's group. I'm not
No,
on
I know. I recognize Janine. I've seen you so many times. I thought you were in the UK.
She thought you were in the UK. She thought you were in the UK.
Awesome.
Nope.
So I got my internet connection back. Our internet went down. It's storming over here a little bit. So I just want to kind of go around the table here so that way we can get to the after party. We've been live for an hour almost. And man, time flies when you're having fun. And it's one of those things that tonight was a really special night. You know, we decided to really just kind of go off topic and kind of see where the conversation went, cut loose just a little bit, have a couple of laughs, and and it's one of those moments to where you really got to be able to kind of let your hair down. No pun intended. I don't have any hair, so I can't let my hair down. But man, I tell you, if I had Lexie's hair, I would freaking rock it like a champion. I would be a headbanger. Like
Something, yeah.
Anyway, but we decided to kind of let our hair down just a little bit tonight and have just a little bit of fun. So we have another friend that just joined. I just want to send a shout out to Maya here. She just popped into the stream here. So I just shared the link. Maya, if you want to join us, you can join us in the after party. We're about ready to close things down, but we always have an after party. You can join us. Click on that link right there within the chat and you can join us for the after party. But yeah, tonight we decided to kind of let things go. So here we go. Let's go ahead and go around the table here for just final words, final thoughts, and then we'll get to the after party here. So we'll start with Lexie, go over to Mary, Bonnie, and then I'll close it out. So Lexie, over to you. What are your final thoughts?
There's nothing like a good laugh, just be positive, just let it all out and just have that big, huge smile. And especially when you're with friends, that's even more awesome. So we need to do this more often.
Mary, you.
I totally agree with Lady Lexie. And like the saying goes, laughter is free therapy. And so most of the people who laugh, they don't really keep issues. They really don't get angry. They are not angry. People who laugh are generally not angry people. And so laughter, it's something we can never have an overdose of. So the more we can laugh, the better for your health, the better for your well-being. So let's keep laughing.
I love it. Mary, thank you very much. Bonnie, over to you.
First of all, Terry, you're going to have to go back and watch this and hear me tell the story of how we ran screaming through the tunnel trying to scare rats away. That might make you laugh.
Okay.
And it just, yeah, I agree with both Lexie and Mary. And just, I just think about so my 5-year-old still has a very higher pitched, he's still little, right? And he's got this amazing contagious belly laugh that when he'd start, you don't even know what he's laughing about, but when he starts, you can't help but to just start laughing with, and it literally causes this chain effect with everybody. It's just, even thinking about it, and those are really the best, I think, when you've got that full body, you just can't help it. laughing. And,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes over the most, he gets a kick out of the most ridiculous things too. Like sometimes he'll hear something wrong. And so the words, because he's still learning, you know, language,
Mhm.
and he'll repeat it back, and it's definitely not whatever this person said. Like, what did he call? It was a ridiculous. What did he call it earlier? Something about like a dumb pickle or something. He got frustrated
Well,
at
he said
chess,
my
and he
dad
was
is
like,
he said my dad is like a pickle.
he said, oh, he
Oh,
said,
yeah.
son of a pickle is what he said, and I'm like,
And then he was like, and then is that where that came from? Because that was really out of context when he said my dad is like a pickle.
yeah, he said that was. He got angry at chess, and yeah, just this randomness blurted out of his mouth, and I'm like, how did that even come? Like, how do you even think of these things? So, anyways, yeah,
Mhm.
kids are a great source of humor and laughter and just lightheartedness if we let them be. And so, yeah, that's if you have a chance to be around, you know, kids, whether nieces, nephews, etc.,
Mhm.
your own kids, and just let them be. It's really, I feel like it's really good for your soul, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna
I
leave it on
agree.
that.
I agree with that. Laughter is the best therapy, and it's one of those things that if you can't laugh at yourself, oh my goodness, man, what's going on with that? So, you know, when you surround yourself with good friends, you have good times. And that's what we had here tonight. Surrounded by good friends, we had a good time just to kind of cut loose just a little bit, have a little bit of a relaxed conversation. I just want to say thank you very much to each of you for joining us here tonight. And, you know, we always want to make sure that we're sharing this printable right here. So I got this printable right here that the amazing Bonnie created, and it's the I Am Unbreakable printout. And right here it is on the screen. So, I am unbreakable, and Mary, you can hold up a heart. We love you. We Mary can hold up a heart. We love you. And it's one of those things that you are unbreakable. We are unbreakable. And here's exactly how you can do that. So right here, I just shared the link, and it's unbreakablestories.com/share. So what we want you to do is we want you to head on over to our website and print out this printable, and it's unbreakablestories.com/share. You'll see all of the details right there on how you can share your support to the things that we are working on here at Unbreakable Stories. It's super easy. All we want you to do is print out that printable, share it across social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, tag us, and then use the hashtag #MyUnbreakableStory. And we'll take care of the rest. We will share that across all of our social media platforms. We will share it on our website, and we will share with the world that you too are unbreakable. It would mean a whole lot to us if you get connected to us. So once again, print this out right here. Share this across the world. Let everybody know that you are unbreakable. And man, it would truly mean a lot to us. All right. So that concludes the show here for tonight. We hope that everybody enjoyed yourselves. Hopefully everybody had a good little laugh here and there. Once again, in the chat, I know we still have a couple of people still watching. In the chat, I have the link. If you want to join the after party, go ahead and tap on that link right there. Click on that link, smash that link, whatever it is that you have to do, and join us in the after party. And it would truly mean a lot to us if you get connected to us in the after party, because you know what? That's where the real laughs happen. The real laughs happen in the after party. So hopefully you'll join us within the after party. And if there's no additional thoughts or anything like that, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day and spending just a little bit of time with us. Until next time, keep it loose, keep it light, keep laughing. We'll see you soon.